Hey everyone, and welcome back to Unique Coin Value, the channel where we dive deep into the stories and the values behind the coins in your pocket and your collection. Today we're talking about a coin that almost every American coin collector has encountered, a coin that sits in thousands of jars, boxes, and folders across the country. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, Alex, 1974? That's a common date. It's not silver. What could possibly be exciting about it? Well, stick with me. While it's true that most of these are worth face value, the world of coin collecting is never that simple. In this video, we're going to uncover the complete story of the 1974 half dollar. Its history, its different mint marks, a few surprising era varieties, and we'll answer the burning question. What is the real circulated value of your 1974 Kennedy half? To understand the 1974 half dollar, we need to step back in time. The Kennedy half dollar was born out of tragedy in 1964, a beautiful tribute to a fallen president. The original coins were struck in 90% silver, a last vestige of America's circulating silver coinage. But by 1965, due to rising silver prices and hoarding, the government had to make a change. From 1965 to 1970, the halves were made of a 40% silver-clad composition. And then, in 1971, the silver was gone for good for circulation strikes. So, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is a fully modern, copper-nickel-clad coin. Its core is 21.5% silver and 78.5% copper, but it's sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This means, from a precious metal standpoint, it has no silver value. Its value is purely numismatic, based on what collectors are willing to pay. In 1974, the United States Mint Francisco S. mint mark. And this is our first key to understanding its value. Let's break them down one by one. First up, the Philadelphia issue. This is the most common of the bunch. The mintage was a staggering 201, 596,000 coins. That's over 200 million. Because they were made for general circulation and so many were produced, finding one-year change was, and still is, very easy. So, what's a circulated 1974 P half dollar worth? If it's a typical worn coin, what we call good to fine condition, it's worth exactly 50 cents. It's a common date coin, and in lower grades, it's purely face value. However, if you have one in nicer, lightly circulated condition, say extremely fine, XF, or about uncirculated EU, you might be able to get $1 to $3 for it from a collector who needs a nicer example for their album next. We have the Denver Mint coin, identified by the small d mint mark above the date. The Denver Mint was even busier, producing 227, 872,000 halves. That's right, even more than Philadelphia. The story for the 1974 DE is almost identical to this 74P. It's incredibly common. A worn, circulated example is worth 50 cents. A nicer, lustrous example with only slight work could fetch you $1 to $3. There's essentially no premium for one mint mark over the other in circulated condition. So far, pretty straightforward, right? But now, we get to the one that actually has some collector interest. The San Francisco Mint in 1974 had a very different job. It did not produce coins for circulation. Instead, it struck two types of coins specifically for collectors: proofs and uncirculated specimens, often sold in mint sets. The 1974 S proof, with its beautiful mirrored surface, was sold in proof sets. The 1974 S uncirculated version, which has a brilliant, satiny finish but no mirroring, was sold in special mint sets, often labeled as SMS. These coins were never intended for circulation. So, if you have a 1974 S half dollar, it should not be worn or circulated. If it is, someone took it out of its protective packaging and spent it, which is a real shame. This leads us to a fascinating what-if scenario. What is a circulated 1974 S half dollar worth? It's a tragic case of a collectible coin that was mistreated. A perfect, unimpaired 1974 S proof is worth about $5 to $8. A brilliant uncirculated 1974 S from a mint set is worth around $2 to $4. But if that same coin is circulated, scratched, dull, with whereon Kennedy's cheek and the eagle's breast, its value plummets. It's no longer a pristine collectible. However, because it's still an S-mint coin and less common than its Philadelphia and Denver brothers, it still holds a small premium. A circulated 1974 S might be worth $1 to $2, even in worn condition, simply because it's a semi-key date for the series in circulation. Now, this is where the real fun begins. You check the mint mark, but have you checked the date? Because within the massive production of 1974, there are some fascinating errors and varieties that can turn this common coin into a $100 treasure. The most famous of these is the 1974 double die obverse. This occurred when the hub that impresses the design onto the working die was misaligned between impressions, creating a noticeable doubling in the lettering and the date. Look for clear separation and doubling on the digits 1974, and also on the inscriptions "In God We Trust." This is not the minor machine doubling you see on many coins. This is a true collectible double die. A circulated example of the 1974 double die can be worth $75 to $150 or more, depending on the grade. And yes, Denver had one too. The 1974 D double die is also known, though it can be slightly less dramatic. Still a CI. $50 to $100. Other things to look for are repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D or S was punched twice in a slightly different position, or off-center strikes. While less valuable than the major double dies, they can still add a $10 to $20 premium to your coin. So, you've gone through your jar of half dollars and found a few 1974s. How do you figure out their condition and thus their potential value? First, look at the highest points of the design. On the obverse, that's Kennedy's hair behind his ear and his cheek. On the reverse, it's the eagle's breast and leg feathers. Hair details are flat. Legends are merging with the rim. Value: 50 cents. You can see most hairlines, but they are flat. Some light wear on the cheek. Eagle's breast feathers are smooth. Value: 50 cents to $1. Still has a lot of detail and maybe even some mint luster in protected areas. Only the very highest points show wear. Value: $1 to $3. No wear at all. It may have bag marks from contact with other coins, but the original luster is full and intact. A 1974 P or D in uncirculated MS 60 to MS 63 is worth $5 to $10. In higher grades like MS 65, it could be worth $15 to $25. So, let's land the plane. The circulated value of a standard 1974 Kennedy half dollar from Philadelphia or Denver is, for the vast majority of them, just 50 cents. It's a fun piece of history, but not a retirement fund. However, the value isn't zero. The potential value lies in the hunt. You need to check the mint mark. Asterisk asterisk, is it an S? Inspect the condition. Asterisk asterisk, is it uncirculated or just lightly worn? Scrutinize for errors. Asterisk asterisk, is it a double die? By doing this, you transform a simple coin search into a treasure hunt. That's the magic of numismatics. Even the most common coin can have hidden secrets. That's all for today. I hope you learned something new about the 1974 Kennedy half. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Coin Canvas for more deep dives into your pocket change. Now, I have.